welcome to the channel, and this is a very special build today, and it's part of my Build Around the World series, and today we are doing a build for the Philippines, and I also have a very special guest with me.
Hey! I'm here. Hello everyone, I'm FreezerBunny.
Yeah, so I'm
It's
having
me,
him...
and I'm from the Philippines.
Yeah, so I was asking Leo or FreezerBunny to give me some advice on the Philippines and the architecture and everything, and he was like, why don't we just collab? So
I know, right?
So I was like,
I invited myself.
So I couldn't say no to Leo, so here we are. So basically,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this collab.
Yeah, so the collab was, so Leo built a more traditional style home, and then I built like a more modern version of it. So how do you say this style of house?
I knew you were gonna have trouble. It's actually bahay na bato, or stone house in English. So you can just call it a stone house because that's literally how it translates as.
Okay. That's a lot easier for me. So I was basically, I noticed that in a lot of like, especially the interiors, there's a lot of wood involved. So I was like,
yes, definitely.
So I was having a hard time, like finding, because you know how all the woods in the game don't match.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit difficult on the inside to make sure everything looked decent, but yeah. Otherwise I had a lot of fun building this one.
I think you did really well.
Thank you.
It looks really Filipino, and even though you went for something that was more modern, I could definitely see it looking really Filipino.
Thank you.
So good job.
Thanks. So I've actually always wondered this. How did you get into architecture? Because you just graduated, right?
Yeah, actually my graduation, so I'm just preparing. I'm not in school anymore. I just have to wait for the graduation itself. But I got into architecture. I decided when I was in high school that I wanted to be an architect because I got really passionate. And I actually talk about this in my video, how in the Philippines, we don't really appreciate our traditional architecture. So that made me really passionate.
Oh,
that's why.
That's awesome. I just like architecture because it's cool. I don't have a degree in it or anything. So what's something that a lot of people don't really know about the Philippines?
I think not a lot of people know that. I think the stereotypical idea of the Philippines is that it's all beaches. But no, we have like really big cities, we have like population centers, and yeah.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I just think of the beaches too.
Nah, that's okay. I think the Filipinos would want you to think that.
Okay, so I remember when you did an ancestral house.
The other one.
Yeah, you had said that there was a lot of like colonial and like Spanish influence. So how did that like change Filipino culture? Yeah,
traditionally the Philippines is an Asian country, so we have a lot of Asian influence in our culture. But when the Spanish colonized the Philippines in the 16th century, we began to adapt the Spanish culture, specifically the religion and some Spanish language. So Filipino language today has some Spanish in it, and there's also some Spanish influence as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I noticed that especially like in the churches.
Yeah.
And the more, I guess, older buildings that exist.
Yeah, definitely a lot of Spanish influence.
So what's something unique to the Philippines that other countries don't really have?
I think it's how we absorb different cultures and how we make it our own. You know, I think the Philippines was a Spanish colony, and then after that we became an American colony. But if you look at the Philippines today, it looks like neither one of those countries. It still looks like the Philippines with a little bit of America, with a little bit of Spain. So I think it's how we absorb and adapt our own culture and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. So, what is a jeepney?
Wow, that's a really hard question. Well, a jeepney is basically public transportation in the Philippines. We got it from the Americans, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, during World War II, when the Americans brought over their jeepneys, they didn't bother taking it back to the United States. So old World War II jeepneys were adopted by the Filipinos and made it into kind of like a Filipino version of a bus. So it functions like buses.
I saw like a few pictures of them, and a lot of them are like painted or whatever.
Yeah, they're like really brightly colored. They usually have like some religious imagery in them, which is, I don't know. I think that's a weird thing in Philippine culture. Like public transportation has like an image of like some saint or something.
Yeah, I saw one that had like culture. Jesus on it.
Yes, that's always there.
Well, yeah. So about the build, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the build. This two-story like
open to below.
Yeah. And then the bamboo that's like on the side on the left there.
So beautiful.
I saw this. I don't know if it was like actually Filipino, but I don't know. I just felt like it would be kind of interesting, like an interesting feature in the home.
Definitely a lot of modern houses have that.
Oh, really?
It also helps with ventilation as well.
Okay.
And you chose the right plants, bamboo. That's what we usually try to use in traditional houses, bamboo.
Is it pretty common?
Yes, it is actually. It's actually, I could go really technical on this because a couple of months ago I attended like a bamboo construction seminar. But yeah, it's really common. That's all I'm gonna say.
A bamboo seminar? I'm actually kind of interested.
Yeah, it was so informative. So you're working on the interiors right now, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know if this is like accurate, but I put the kitchen on the first floor downstairs, kind of off of the front door because I really didn't find a place that it fit otherwise. So it's just kind of very open plan on the first floor.
Yeah, I think anywhere works for the kitchen anyway, so doesn't really have to be anywhere. So the ground floor is fine, but usually it would be upstairs. I know that sounds really weird, especially to people who don't live in the Philippines, but I think for modern houses, definitely in the ground floor, it's pretty practical to have it there.
Okay.
I also noticed you using some custom content. Did you use custom content in this build?
I actually didn't. I just have the custom content in my library, but yeah, I noticed in your build you had the kitchen on the second floor.
Yeah.
So why is that a thing? Actually,
even in traditional Philippine architecture, the kitchen is always on the second floor because of the flood. Usually the cities in the Philippines would be built right next to rivers or, bodies of water. So the flood would always be an issue.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But it works on this build because it's already on a foundation, right? So
right.
The flood isn't really gonna do much about that. I mean, speaking realistically, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have like the new like large round table for the inside.
I really wanted a round table for this build because I saw a lot of that in pictures of interiors. But there's not really one in game, so I had to go with
just another thing to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but they also were gonna do like more wicker or woven chairs with the pack.
Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
We also have a lot of those.
Yeah, that's.
Do you guys in this also call it rattan?
No.
Or do we just call it that?
I think it's just furniture. You guys.
I like the shelf detail you did on the stairs.
Thank you.
Very modern.
I'm just gonna pretend like it's built in and not sticking out. But yeah,
looks really good.
I saw a lot of like wicker or woven furniture in like pictures, and I really wanted to use that for this build, but we don't have that in the game either.
Those are really traditional. So how many bedrooms are in this house?
Just one.
Okay.
Because I didn't want.
I love that table.
Oh, I know. So that one came with a fitness pack, I think.
Yeah.
But for this house, I kind of wanted to mix like a few traditional things as well as more modern things, especially on the second floor.
Yeah.
You'll see that.
Yep, that's actually very common in Philippine architecture to mix modern and traditional furniture. So even in really modern houses, you'll find like an antique furniture or two. Oh, by the way, my Speedbuild actually has a lot of superstition in it. So if you see that like red rock thing with the gnomes, those are actually like that's like a thing.
What is that?
Yeah, it's actually a dwarf. In the Philippines, we call them duende, or like, I guess in English we can call them dwarves. But yeah, every time we see like a red mound, we always like are afraid of it. I know that sounds really weird. Like a termite mound, but everybody's like kind of scared with it. And when you're passing by it, you always have to say like a phrase.
Wow.
You always have to say "excuse me" in front of it. I know that sounds really cultural.
No, like in Spanish culture, there's a lot of superstitions and things like that, so I get it.
I saw you were trying to use some custom content chairs there.
I was just looking at stuff, you know.
Nice. Are those the chairs on the dining room?
No, those are from Spa Day.
Ooh, I don't use those. I don't even know those exist.
They're really nice. They're like one of my favorite chairs from that pack. I think I changed them though. Those are from Dine Out, the ones I have there.
How long did it take you to do this build?
It took me 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot less time than how I did my build. It took me like maybe 6 hours because it had like so much clutter in it.
Yeah.
I wish we did this for my speed builds, but I already filmed my commentary like a couple of days ago.
Yeah. I just only thought
Maybe we can do it next time.
Yeah. It was kind of a last minute idea that I had yesterday. But yeah, so now we're on the second floor and I'm doing the master bedroom. So I had to put a little elephant.
Yes, that's so cute.
I really struggled with the bed because I didn't really know what would be appropriate. So I wanted something modern but traditional at the same time. I was thinking about using the one
I think that one's actually really good.
From City Living, but I didn't like the comforters that it came with.
Yeah, it had like these weird like triangular patterns on it. Oh, City Living. Wait, I'm thinking of a different thing. Never mind. I'm sorry.
So this is the master bathroom. I like the idea of putting the bathtub kind of not like against the wall, but by itself on some pebbles. I think I've seen you do it before.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times.
It's so nice.
So nice, right? I wonder who thought of making that like pebble floor.
Me too.
Like, what was their thought process behind that? Were they like, we should make like a pebble floor?
And this is a little study nook here on the top floor. Mezzanine, I guess it'd be called.
Yeah. Good choice with the windows, by the way. Very big and lots of that tropical light coming in.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of the windows have like several panels, I guess they'd be called, the glass panels.
Yeah.
I thought about putting a bar up here, but decided against it.
So you put a piano instead.
Yeah, it's a antique piano.
We do have those European musical instruments.
Oh, we're almost done with the build actually.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you FreezerBunny for joining me on
Of course,
this build.
it was a pleasure.
And I'll see you all next time. Bye guys. Bye.
you.